Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to our talk show. I am your co-host, Stephen Norris with Keller Williams. And as always, my co-host, Michael Dye of Megastar Financial. And today, our topic of conversation is going to be, there is no difference between a pre-qualification versus a pre-approval in the lending process when you're looking to buy any kind of real estate. Now, this topic comes up very regularly for us, and it should. There are very different items that have to be addressed. And so today we're going to be getting into the specifics of those kinds of things. So to start it out, Michael, why don't you give us a very brief definition of the differences between a pre-qualification and a pre-approval?
All right. Well, there is quite a big difference. And especially when we are in the environment that we are here in Colorado, where we're low inventory as far as our housing market goes, and we've got a lot of buyers out there. So it's highly competitive in that area when you're trying to make your offer. And the big difference here is pre-qualified is basically having someone, Stephen, go on my website or go to another lender and literally just fill out an app, and that loan officer has turned around and looked at it and just looked at the brief things that they've put down on their application, and then haven't verified anything. And then turn around and go, oh, by the things that you've gone ahead and put down, this is what you're pre-qualified for, and I'm happy to give you a letter and you can go out shopping. Well, that's not really conducive of what we're trying to do in this market. So what I do for my borrowers is I take them definitely an extra step further. I go ahead and get them pre-approved. And what I mean by pre-approval here at Megastar is that we do TBD, which is to be determined, an underwrite. So literally I'm gathering all the loan documentation that you would for any other loan. And if you're a W-2 employee, that would be, W-2s, pay stubs for 30 days, taxes for the last 2 years, your W-2s for, your last 2 years. You want a copy of your driver's license, bank statements, to where I'm verifying those funds. And then I'm taking that and I'm going to go ahead and run it through my automated underwriting system, which is giving me that. And then I'm going to take it a step further, let my underwriters actually really underwrite. As to where I'm the pre-qualified, someone might be going ahead and using the automated underwriting system, but not verifying any of the information that's on there. So what really happens, and the difference of that is if they do go under contract, there could be things that come up that the lender didn't know about or didn't do his due diligence. So big difference between being pre-approved, which is the way to go, and being pre-qualified.
Absolutely. And there's a really good, some nuggets of information in everything Michael just said. Working backwards from what he just said, in the real estate process, once you're under contract, there is a portion of the process that you have to get approved in the loan. And essentially what they're doing is they're just making sure that you actually have the money and the means to buy the house moving forward. Because if you don't, obviously, we don't want to put you in this kind of a situation. So that's what Michael was talking about when he says that throughout the process, they are going to relook at the loan. Secondly, this is the big question I always get, and that is very simply, well, I have not been in my job for 2 years if I'm a W-2. And if I'm a 1099, how many years of taxes do I actually need? Well, for the last forever, it seems like the perception has really been that 2 years is that buzzword. And, at a certain point, that was the case. And the reason why was for a stability purpose. But since we've been in the changing environment, those rules have actually adapted very favorably, as a matter of fact. And Michael kind of touched on that a little bit. And we actually are going to do another video about this much more in depth in the coming weeks. But real quick, Michael, could you just touch on those qualifications for the W-2s and the 1099s?
Well, a W-2, basically, you're working for somebody else, right? And 1099, you're actually doing contract work, right? So we really want to see a track history of that. And we've really had a lot of big changes. And that's why I'm looking forward to that next video about talking about what's really changed for our 1099 borrowers, our business owners, our S-Corp owners, or our LLC people, because COVID has made things very, very strict on what they can do. We want to make sure that we verify that their business is up and running. As to where a W-2 employee, you're being paid by somebody else and someone else is sending you that check, right? So it's easy to verify that you have that. As to where, being self-employed, is a little bit more stringent, especially during these pandemic times.
Absolutely. And like, that's the big thing that I want everyone to listen to what we just said, is that, we're in an ever-changing environment right now. So if you do have questions about whether or not you do qualify or what kind of terms you need to specifically be in, if you're looking to buy a house right now, just give us a call. Please reach out to us either through a comment. All of our information is listed below. So please let us know what kind of things we can help you answer. And again, that video is coming shortly. But in another kind of question that we see very regularly, when it comes to the pre-approval versus the pre-qualification, is always the topic of credit. Oh, I don't want to have my credit pulled or my credit dinged. And so Michael, talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's always getting, credit updates through, either their bank or their credit cards anymore. And of course, people are checking. You're also allowed to check with each repository once a year to see where your credit's at. But a lot of times what you're getting online is a little bit different than what we're seeing here on the mortgage side, because what you're looking at online is really about your liabilities, which is your credit card debt and maybe some installment of your auto loans. As to where for the mortgage side, it's a little bit deeper and in-depth look. It used to be that a credit report was good for 120 days. However, now during COVID, right, we've changed back over where the credit report is now only good for 90 days. So saying that, my pre-approved borrowers are really pre-approved for 90 days. Because in the end, we need to repo that credit. As long as we're still working at the same job and nothing's changed, then that pre-approval is good for 90 days. And we kind of talk that out throughout the whole process and keep them updated.
That's excellent. So like just re-clarify what Michael said, once you are pre-approved, you have that letter in the email or the mail, and it's good for 90 days. So from the moment that you get that letter, you guys can go around and shop for houses, and that pre-approval letter is good for 90 days. So whatever the world has to throw at us, you'll at least have that, and knowing that you are comfortable moving forward with the buying process. And so like those are kind of the big three topics and questions that we hear very regularly. So those are the ones that we wanted to really touch on. But with that being said, we're going to have a little bit more in-depth videos coming soon in regards to what we talked about today. So with that being said, we are closing out. But before we do, Michael, do you have any last remarks for the folks there, or just in general education and awareness that they should know of?
Well, at least for our state here in Colorado, where it's highly competitive, I suggest to make sure that you talk to your lender or give me a call and make sure that you get pre-approved. So that way, when you are in that battle with other buyers or that are trying to buy the same property, we can go ahead and I'll even write a letter of intent to lend, because I've taken you through that entire process, which seems to really work for a lot of my clients. So it's just a stronger letter than even the pre-approval, because we've gone through the due diligence of going through a full underwrite, as just running it through automated underwriting.
Oh, absolutely. And some sellers now, even days, won't even let you see the property without the pre-approval letter being presented before you see the property. And definitely 100%, I have personally never sent a contract to buy and sell real estate or an offer to buy a house without having the letter of pre-approval, because it just makes the offer look that much stronger. Plus, at the same time, we know that the intent is actually there to move forward. So just to, reinforce that again, guys, make sure you are talking to your realtors and your agents out there and your lenders, and make sure you have that letter of pre-approval and you're knowledgeable about what it actually means as well. And if you guys, obviously, if you have questions, you guys can always contact us anytime.
Yeah, please do. We're always, our information is below, both our phone numbers, keeping it in mind, as well as our emails. Reach out and contact us. We're happy to answer any questions you may have.
Awesome, guys. Well, we will see you next time, all right? I'll see you later, Michael.
Have a great week. Thanks for having me. Cheers.